always Australians' golden child, and obviously being the son of Kostya, you're always the favourite for the most part. This is the first time in your career you actually face adversity, and a lot of people were seeing you as an underdog.
Yeah.
Did that light a fire under your backside?
Yeah, there was a lot of questions to be answered, to be doubted. You know, I never really had that in my life, but I had it this time, and I proved it.
Hey, what's up? This is Antonio. Welcome back to my channel. Now, who's ready for some fighting words? In this video, I want to do a fight breakdown for Tim Tszyu versus Keith Thurman. Really quick, if you like the videos, please take the time right now. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. If you have, thank you. And if you have recently, welcome and thank you. And while you're at it, please hit the thumbs up button. It shows love and it supports this channel. So we're going to jump this thing off with Keith Thurman versus Tim Tszyu, the Soultaker. We're going to start off with experience. Who's got more experience? You know, at this point, I think it's even. I think it's even. I think Tim Tszyu has been through the ringer in these last few bouts, to be honest with you. But I know you're going to say, well, how is it even? And he has 2 losses back to back. And when you look at Keith Thurman, he had a loss to, a Hall of Famer, Manny Pacquiao. Now, that's true. However, Keith Thurman is moving up in weight. That's number one. And number two, everybody knows my stance when it comes to the Fundora fight and Tim Tszyu. I don't really feel like he lost that fight, and I feel like if he throws 10 more punches, it's evident to everyone else that he won that fight. So what we're really talking about is a Baclaran fight, in which case it's 154, in which case I don't think Tim was in his right mind. I don't feel like he was totally dialed in. I don't feel like he was totally locked in. And I kind of feel like he was in his Hollywood stage, if you will, where he's really hitting superstardom. And now it's just like, well, what's next? What's next? What's next? Well, I'm going to get past this no-name guy, and I'm going to do... So I don't really feel like he was 100% locked in. While you look at Keith Thurman, he was locked in for Manny Pacquiao, and he still lost. Now, you could easily make the argument for Keith Thurman if he threw, maybe 10 more punches, he would have won the fight with Manny Pacquiao. That's true, but that's a smaller weight. So when you're going up in size, yeah, things are going to be different. So I'm going to give the experience. Honestly, I'm gonna even that thing out. I'm going to say it's a tie. Power. Who's got more power? At 154, I think it's Tim Tszyu. I do. I think it's Tim Tszyu. I think Keith Thurman has a lot of power, and he showed it in the Brock Jarvis fight. But Brock Jarvis is not like, a number one contender. He's not. So I think the names of Brock Jarvis and Joey Spencer are going to come up several times in this breakdown. I think they're important because they gauge where each guy is currently at. Currently, before the 2 losses of Tim Tszyu and before the loss with Manny Pacquiao, I think it's safe to say, all right, this is going to say where both guys are at. Let's see. Punch output. I think they're even. I don't think neither guy is going to throw a ton of punches. Fighting Joey Spencer, that is the most fluid I have ever seen Tim Tszyu. I mean, it was just, he was consistent, he was active, he was edging forward, he was throwing jabs, he was touching him, he was pawing at him, he was just doing a lot of things, and that's kind of out of character, but that just shows new growth, and that shows a new dedication to the sport of boxing, and also, a new level change for him, if I will. And when I look at Keith Thurman, Brock Jarvis was just so out of class that it's just, it was a good win, especially because Keith Thurman had been gone for, some time, so it was a good win. But we got to be honest, Keith Thurman beating Brock Jarvis isn't the same as Tim Tszyu beating Joey Spencer. Joey Spencer is a very talented and slick and smart, intelligent boxer. Brock Jarvis is not. Brock Jarvis is a big, strong kid who hits hard and will just walk forward. There's a difference. So when you have Keith Thurman doing what he did, as impressive as it was, because I don't want to take anything from him, as impressive as it was, I don't think it was as impressive as Tim Tszyu beating Joey Spencer, and especially in the way that he beat Joey Spencer. He shut Joey Spencer down. Keith Thurman beat up Brock Jarvis. Tim Tszyu shut Joey Spencer down and beat him up. There's a difference. I took all that you had and I just nullified that crap. While you look at, you know, Keith Thurman, it was like, I didn't let you do anything. You just ran in and you got hit with some stuff. There's a difference. I'm sorry, there's a difference. But we just take Joey Spencer and we take Brock Jarvis. Joey Spencer's a much better boxer than Brock Jarvis. Joey Spencer beats Brock Jarvis. I don't care if that's early in the fight, and I don't care if it's a decision. He beats Brock Jarvis. So we have to be honest about that. Wasn't it an impressive win for Keith Thurman? Of course it was. The way he did it, yeah, of course it was. But when you look at it, I think it's more impressive the way Tim Tszyu beat Joey Spencer. Footwork, Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman. Footwork. He's got better footwork. You can't take that from him. And in the Brock Jarvis fight, it shows that he's not that old, and he shows that, you know, he's not that out of the loop. He still has his footwork, and it worked in his favor. And, you know, here's a good thing for Keith Thurman. He wasn't hurt at any time in the fight. He didn't have a difficult fight. He didn't face any real adversity. So he's fresh and good to go. His legs are fresh and good to go. Let's see. Defense. Who was better defense? You know, normally I would have said Keith Thurman, no doubts. No thought about that. However, again, it was the way Tim Tszyu shut down Joey Spencer. Joey Spencer is also very defensively, you know, a sound-minded guy defensively. And the way Tim Tszyu was able to control him, back him up, and then keep his hands on him consistently. So Joey Spencer didn't have anywhere to go. There was no outlet. There was no way out of this. He was going to succumb to this regardless. You know what? I'm going to say defense is if this is the new Tim Tszyu and this is what he's doing moving forward, I think he's going to be very difficult to deal with, because somebody who hits as hard as him, his jabs hurt. So somebody who hits as hard as him and he's trying to be consistent in touching you, and he's just not going in there with brute force, but he's just allowing it to happen organically, I think that's going to be a very difficult thing. So I'm going to give defense a tie. There was a point in time when I would have easily said, oh, Keith Thurman. He has his legs. He knows how to get out of there. But Tim Tszyu was slipping shots with Joey Spencer. And like I said, Joey Spencer's a slick guy. Like, it's not like he's a rock'em sock'em type of guy. He's not. You can push him into a corner. You can get that. But that is not what he's stepping out, you know, round one doing. He's not. So I'm going to have to give defense a tie, actually. And that would have initially gone to Keith Thurman. Let's see. Creativity. Keith Thurman. I still think he's a more creative guy. Keith Thurman. You don't know what Keith Thurman is going to do. And you don't know how he's going to do it, because nothing is ever the way it's supposed to look. You really don't know what he's going to do. He can start off with a shovel hook. You really don't know what he's going to do. So, Keith Thurman. Durability. Between the two of them, I'm still going to go with Tim Tszyu. He's bigger. He's stronger. It's his weight class. And, you know, yeah, we can talk about the losses, but if anything, I think it just goes to show his heart and his determination. He kept getting up. It wasn't like he was knocked out like cold with Baclaram. No, he kept getting up, and he was still trying to fight on. You know, so not to mention he couldn't even see with Fundora, and Fundora couldn't stop him. So I'm going to say Tim Tszyu, and I think that's a strong choice to make. Cardio. All right, Keith does get tired. We didn't see much with the Brock Jarvis fight. Didn't last that long. So we didn't see much with that fight. You know, Joey Spencer didn't last that long either. But because of the way Tim Tszyu fights, he doesn't exert a lot of energy. He's not running around. He's not being overly creative. So the things that he does is not going to force him to, you know, just expel a lot of energy anyway. So I'm definitely going to give it to Tim Tszyu. I think he can go 12 rounds, no problem, doing his Tim Tszyu thing, etching forward. While you look at Keith Thurman, he will take breaks, and he will slow down eventually, you know, the course of the fight. Not to mention he's older now, so he's definitely going to slow down. And not to mention he's got more weight now. He's definitely going to slow down. And not to mention he's fighting someone bigger now. He's definitely going to slow down because the weight of the punches are going to begin to take hold. Dog. Who's got more dog? All right. We're no longer looking at Joey Spencer. We're no longer looking at Manny Pacquiao. Now we're looking at the Baclaram fight, and we're looking at the Fundora fight, and we're looking at the the Danny Garcia fight with Keith Thurman, and we're looking at the Manny Pacquiao fight. Because both of those fights for Keith Thurman were dog fights. And it was just, what do you got in you? Because I'm not going anywhere. And Danny Garcia hits hard. He's not the fastest guy in the world, but he's a great counterpuncher. He's a very durable guy. He's not an easy guy to get out of there. For the first time, he's been put down recently by Lara. So that says a lot. And at that time, Danny Garcia was smoking hot. While you look at the Manny Pacquiao fight, Manny Pacquiao was, gone. He just came back, so it showed it was a great fight and it was a back and forth fight. But there was a part of me that said, Manny Pacquiao shouldn't have been able to do that to you. That's kind of where my mind went. He shouldn't have been able to do that to you. Now you look at the Fundora fight, everything was great until the cut. And I don't think I'm going to get anybody who would disagree with me. Everything was great until the cut. Once the cut happened, that was a transition. That was the shift in the fight. So if that cut didn't happen, I honestly see Tim Tszyu knocking out Fundora, to be honest with you. Now, even with the cut, he was still finding him. He was taking a few to give one, but he was still finding him. And he's, with no sight, managed to still make it competitive. When it comes to dog, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to give it to Tim Tszyu. I think that shows more dog. And I think him getting beaten up by Bakaram and him getting back to his feet. Now, maybe Tim was just thinking, you know what? I've been down before. I've been down a few times. But I normally rally myself back. It's going to take a minute. But if I can get through this, round and I can just shake it off, maybe I can turn the tide of the fight. That's probably what he's thinking. It just never got to that point. And Bakaram wasn't sweating hard. And, it wasn't as if he was exhausted. The man was not exhausted. So, yeah, it would have eventually gotten real bad if things hadn't been stopped. But, again, I just think it shows to his heart and his dog. I think he's got, a lot of dog in him. And you're going to have to, unfortunately, kill him to stop him. Because he was just going to keep getting back up. And I don't think that's Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman likes to hit you. He doesn't like getting hit. And Tim Tszyu is perfectly secure with himself to get hit. That's the point that I'm making. So I think that comes in with mental toughness. Who's more mentally tough? Well, again, I'll say it like this. Who's more mentally tough? Who just took 2 back-to-back losses and fought a guy who's younger than him in his third fight, in his comeback fight, fought a guy who's younger than him, really dangerous, really fast, really creative, and a really great slick boxer. That's mental toughness, if you ask me. That's mental toughness. Keith Thurman fighting Brock Jarvis is not mental toughness. It's just not. It's a good fight, but it is not mental toughness. I don't think there was at any point in the promotion for Keith Thurman facing Brock Jarvis where Keith Thurman didn't get any sleep that night. A night before or anything like that. And I don't think there was any thoughts of doubt fighting Brock Jarvis. While Tim Tszyu flat out admitted, if I don't win this, where am I going? There is no, plan B. Where am I going? And he admitted he's a tough guy. That's the reason why I wanted to fight him, because if I can't get through this guy, I know I can't get through the guys who are above him. That's mental toughness. And last but not least, who's more dangerous? Who's more dangerous between Tim Tszyu, the Soultaker, versus Keith one-time Thurman? They're both riding high right now. Both had impressive wins. Star power is at a peak for both guys. Who's more dangerous? Tim Tszyu. I think it's his weight class. I think he hits harder. And he's the one who had to soul search and recreate himself in the ring. Keith Thurman did Keith Thurman when he beat Brock Jarvis. I'm definitely going with Tim the Soultaker Tszyu. Drop your thoughts down below.